It's time again at the Moore's Marinade Celebrity Chef Stage. We're ready to do some cooking and demonstrating. Are you ready to do some eating? That's the issue. All right, fantastic. Let me tell you a little about the men you see before you. First, on the left, Sebastien. When you hear him speak, if he speaks, is he mic'd up? You'll hear him speak. You will know that he's not from around here. A French native who has been in the United States for 10 years and is working for Omni Hotels, has been in Dallas before, but has been in Omni Hotels in Dallas for the last couple of years. We're glad to have him at ZestFest. And on the right, you will see, you know him from the booth, you know him from the Fiery Food Challenge. You saw him working earlier with Eddie Dean. He even got his chef's white clean again somehow. I don't know how that happened. It's Pete Mollett from Smokin' Texas Gourmet. And let me tell you this. Every time we do these intros, we talk about the wonderful culinary school instruction that our chefs have endured and passed, and it's a grueling aspect of your career. Pete did not go to culinary school. He went to the University of Cincinnati and studied and degreed in organic chemistry. That gives him a little bit of a heads up, I think, in formulating his products with Smokin' Texas Gourmet. All natural, gluten-free, no thickeners, no preservatives. He'll tell you more about that, as long as I didn't step on your line there, Pete. But how about a big hand, Smokin' Texas Gourmet's very own Pete Mollett.
Thank you all for coming in. We really appreciate you coming here. And ZestFest, I have to give props to ZestFest first. They've done an outstanding job. And it's always a pleasure to work with them. They're very, very good at what they do. And they keep it real for you guys. So hopefully your tongues aren't all burned out from all the hot pepper sauces and such, because we're gonna cool it down a little bit. We're gonna do something a little bit different than real hot food. Chef Sebastien is with Omni Hotels, as Scott said. Happens to be a very good customer of ours. We do a lot of food service in the restaurant world. And I've asked Chef to be with me to do this. He's an outstanding chef. Cast Iron Fort Worth is his restaurant, as well as handles whiskey and rye in Omni. Chef, I don't know if you want to say anything.
Hi everybody, how are we doing? Are you tongue still testing something? Because I tried scorpion chocolate and my mouth's still on fire. Like you said, I'm from France. I've been here for 10 years. A French chef in Texas doing Texas food. Yeah, it happened. What I do is I try to use my culinary knowledge from France and I tweak it with the Texas flavor. So actually I'm going to do one dish today. It was a French dish with Texas flavor. I met Peter about, it's going to be what, 2 years ago in July. We met at a food show like this. I tried his product. He was okay. I tried to do some business for him and trying to educate him a little bit. I'm just kidding. Peter's got great product. We're trying to work together. I was looking for something special for the restaurant. He had something special, and what I like about Peter is he's open-minded and he works on different things, and we developed some product together. I told him I want a special ketchup, I want a special mustard for my restaurant, and he made it happen. He's got this jalapeno honey mustard. It's outstanding, and we got that roasted onion ketchup that we use at the restaurant. I'm going to do the brisket. I'm going to go and explain you how we do the brisket. And we use 3 of the products that Peter has. It's this product here. It's the spice dry rub. Do you want to talk about this one?
Yeah, I think everyone probably, a lot of people know about it, but it is MSG gluten-free. It's got about 15, 16 different components in it. The thing about spices that you really have to know is balance. You want a flavor balance. If it's not balanced, it's going to taste weird to you. So we work very hard on flavor profiling things like the jalapeno honey mustard, the dry rub. The garlic, salt, and pepper sounds very simple, but it's not. So that's kind of what we do. And you're going to taste all these today. Chef said he's going to do a brisket his way. I'm going to be on a Mardi Gras side. I'm going to show you how to make a gumbo. And then we're going to serve all these up.
So, is everybody knows what brisket? Oh, you should, right? You're in Texas. So our brisket is a 3 days walk. We start 3 days early. The first day is the seasoning. I'm going to show you that. We're going to season the brisket. We're going to wrap it, put it in the refrigerator overnight. And that's it. We're not going to touch it. So we're going to use this spice. This is my brisket. Try to put some gloves on. So I'm going to put the spice all over the brisket, on both sides, every side. Make sure it's got plenty seasoning. There you go. All right, don't be afraid.
Chefs, I assume if any of our audience has a question that you'll happily entertain that from our crowd.
Absolutely.
Awesome.
This is very interactive.
And let me, if I could, one emergency announcement. If there is a David Baker Jr. in the exhibition hall, David Baker Jr., you are needed at the will call window. David Baker Jr. Thank you, chefs. My apologies.
All right, so the second side, you see a lot of seasoning everywhere. You gotta make sure it stay on it.
That's the way the French do it. They pat it. In Texas, we rub it, right? So
He's not even from Texas. He's an immigrant like me.
actually
right.
grew up in German kitchens, so.
So you got a French and a German at the ZestFest. All right, I'm sure you don't have that. I do. Big plastic wrap. Like this, I can wrap the whole thing. There you go.
Did you put the garlic, salt, and pepper on that, chef?
I'm gonna do it before I roast it.
Okay.
Today. All right. Let's get rid of that. We're gonna do the other sides. All right, we're gonna keep it really tight. There you go. Easy enough, right? Can you do that? Okay, then after that, just shove in the refrigerator overnight.
Now, one thing about that, don't think just brisket. You can do that with pork butt, pork shoulder for pulled pork. It's outstanding. The rub can also be used on salmon. It's an all-purpose rub. Matter of fact, we won a Scovia Award for all-purpose rub this year with that. So while Chef is getting that part ready, I'm going to real quickly show you how to begin a gumbo. The key to the gumbo is the roux. But before we do the roux, what we're going to do is we're going to brown some chicken and andouille sausage, because this is going to be a chicken and andouille gumbo. You can do it with shrimp, you can do it with seafood, a lot of different things. So we're going to heat up olive oil first, and this should get good and hot. And then what we're going to do is we're going to dump in the chicken. I got something here. We'll dump in the chicken. You can hear it sizzling. And we're going to start stirring it, and we want to brown it. And this only takes a few minutes. You can see it's pretty hot. So we're not going to cook the chicken, we're just going to brown it. And all those nice little particles that go on the bottom, that's what we want, because that's going to give you a lot of flavor. Can you see this chicken cooking on the screen? Okay. So we'll start to brown it. We're going to add a tiny bit more olive oil. You don't want to use too much olive oil because you really want it to stick to the bottom. The bottom particles will come off when we add the chicken broth or beef broth, whatever you want to make your gumbo with.
We're the next day already. Good morning. Morning, everyone. You had a good night's sleep? All right, I'm going to take my brisket. I'm going to unwrap it. I'm going to take this. You don't have to use that, but we do use that in a restaurant. It's a sea salt, pepper, and garlic that Peter does. I love that product because it's keep it consistent in the kitchen. So we're going to use this. We're going to season the brisket all over again. We're going to tap it again. And then we're going to sear it with the fat side first. Okay? You start with the side, the fat side first. You flip it, nice and brown on both sides. Then you take a roasting pan and you wrap it with foil. Okay? Wrap it foil, and then you put it in the oven for 3 hours at 425. We put at 425 for 3 hours. After that, we take it out and we put it in a smoker for 4 hours at 400 degrees. If you don't have a smoker, just do the 7 hours. If you have a grill in your backyard, a barbecue, it's good. You can convert that as a smoker. But if you don't, just do an oven for 7 hours. So we do for 7 hours. That's the second day. When it's done, we take it and put it in the refrigerator.
Now, while he's putting that in the refrigerator, we're going to add the andouille sausage. And andouille sausage, that's one I didn't cut up, is kind of a smoky sausage. It'll give you a little bit of heat. We're going to add a little bit of garlic, salt, and pepper to that to make sure it has some salt. One of the things when you make a gumbo, if you have a cast iron pan or something like this that's enameled, they tend to hold your heat very well because it's going to end up cooking about 2 hours. So once we have it browned like this, we're going to remove this. And we're going to put it in here, and we're going to do our vegetables. I'm sorry, we're going to make our roux. So we're just going to go ahead and remove this, and while I remove this, Chef will tell you a little bit about that brisket that he's cooked 3 days.
All right. Third day. Brisket is ready. Then you can do whatever you want with it. Now, we do cool down the brisket for the recipe that we do after that. If you have a party and you want to serve a brisket when it's ready after the 7 hours, just serve it, carve it, and serve it, okay? So if you have a party for dinner, just put it at 12 o'clock, ready at 7, boom, you serve it. We don't, we cut it down because we need to slice it. So we're gonna slice it, but this is the brisket. It's ready to go. I'm gonna show you the inside. See how it is, nice and pink. We keep the fat because we like the fat. So now after this, we make a sandwich. What we do, we slice it, and I'm going to show you that. And that's what I was saying about French and Texas cuisine. What I do, it's in France we have a French dip. It's a sandwich we do in French. It's a baguette with sliced beef, with some Gruyere and some caramelized onion in a bread, and then we have some demi sauce that we dip the sandwich in the sauce, and then we eat it. Nice and fatty. What we do at the restaurant is we replace the beef with the brisket. I'm going to reheat the brisket with some caramelized onion, with some barbecue sauce from Peter, and then what we use, it's a huggy bun. It's a recipe that we developed. It's raw beer. Everybody gonna know raw beer? The raw beer from Fort Worth?
Not raw, R-A-W, R-A-H-N. That's the accent, so.
Sorry, my French. So it's a beer from Fort Worth. So we do a beer, the bread with the raw beer and honey. So we did those little huggy bun for this, and then we do it that way too. That's the way you're gonna test it. We do this for a buffet, so it's little bun that we put together. We're gonna do that for you testing. But for the restaurant, we do with this. We toast it. Another way we do sometime too is just take a big slice, and I'm gonna do that too. You're gonna sample. We take a big slice. You can do that at home. You brush. You have a grill. You brush with barbecue, and then you just put on the grill.
So while he's grilling that, I've taken the andouille sausage out and the chicken out that I've browned. I'm now going to make the roux. And this is what makes or breaks a gumbo. Don't let it intimidate you. It's not that hard. We have the oil in there. You can see it. It's nice and hot. We add a little bit of butter to it. And you want the butter because it's going to give a lot of richness to it. Okay? Now, what makes a gumbo and what makes a roux a good roux? It's the butter, the oil, and the flour. So we're going to dump the flour in here, and it's important to dump the flour in the oil because this is our thickening agent. If you've got any moisture in there or any water in there, it's going to immediately want to thicken. So when we pour our broth in, that's what's going to make it thicken. So you can see we've got it all mixed up in here. And really what you want to do is you want to mix this and kind of stir it for about 10 minutes. Now, we're going to not do it that long. The darker the color without burning it, and that's the key because butter will burn. Your olive oil is not going to burn, but your butter will burn. So what you want to do is get it a nice brown. I like it, well, you can see it here. Mm-hmm. It's a very nice brown here. And you can see the bottom of the pan. All of this is going to come off when I put the liquid in, and that's going to be a lot of flavor. So now that we got that roux made, we're going to add the vegetables. Now this dish is going to cook, simmer after we get done with it for about an hour before you serve it. So you don't have to cook your vegetables right here. You just get them 2 or 3 minutes, get them a little bit soft, and we've got peppers in here, red and green. We added some celery, and we added onion. So we're just going to stir that up, mix it with the roux, like this. And you only need to do this about 2 or 3 minutes. Again, you're sweating the onions, you're sweating your peppers. They will cook in the broth that you're going to end up making. Once this is completed, we're going to add back the broth and such to it. Or actually, we're going to add back the chicken and sausage first. And you can hear it sizzle because the pan's real hot. And then we're going to start adding the broth. And you'll see as you add the broth, and here's a little trick for you. I'm adding the broth cold to a hot pan. It will start thickening once it really heats up. The tip is if you put your broth, or whether it's beef stock, chicken stock, water, and heat it up first where it's hot and then add it, like making a risotto, it cooks quicker and faster and will start thickening up faster. But you can see here that what I've already added, you don't even see the liquid. So it's starting to thicken. We'll just add a bunch here. The recipe is online, by the way. And actually, I have the recipe with me. If you come to booth 609, 610, I'll give you the recipe.
All right, while he's doing this, back to the brisket. So I sliced some brisket. I have the brisket on the grill. We're going to do the sandwich now. I'm going to take an onion. I'm going to julienne it because I'm going to caramelize the onion. All right, you put it. And we're going to julienne. I'm just going to cut in half and julienne. Now I'm gonna put a little bit of olive oil, nice and warm. And I'm gonna add the onion. I'm gonna cook it until it's caramelized. So back to the brisket. I slice, tiny slice. If you have a slicer at home, which I doubt, like we do, use a knife, cut it nicely, then chop it a little bit. Not too much, just a little bit. Okay? And when the caramelized onion will be ready, we're gonna add the brisket. And then we're gonna add a little bit of barbecue sauce. And talking about the barbecue sauce, Peter has 3 different barbecue sauce that we use at the hotel. We use this one mainly. It's the smoked sweet heat. We use everything for the sandwich, for any recipe in a restaurant or any of the catering. And then he's got the Texas, no, sorry, wrong one. The Texas barbecue sauce, and then he's got the gold barbecue sauce. Do you want to explain the difference between those 3?
Yeah, the original barbecue sauce is what started our company. Once we developed that, and Chef wanted some others, and other people wanted others, we decided to do the smoke and sweet heat. Now, the Texas Gold that he's talking about is really a replacement for some mustard barbecue sauces that are out there on commercially. Chef Sebastien wanted a mustard barbecue sauce, so I went back to the kitchen and formulated 15 different products up that uses the combination of the jalapeno honey mustard and the barbecue sauce. The reason we did that was we wanted to make sure that we stayed in the same flavor profile quadrant. What happens is, if you have a hamburger and you put one product on one side of the hamburger, you put another product on the other side of the hamburger, if they're not in the same flavor profile, when you bite down on that, you're gonna say, wow, this tastes weird. So we wanted to make sure that the customers from Omni did not get that weird taste. So it's actually a combination of the two. While he's doing that, you can see how thick this has gotten, the roux. This is really too thick because we've got one more ingredient to add to this in a minute. So before we do that, we're gonna add some more stock to it and thin it out a little bit, and it's actually gonna thicken again. You cannot have gumbo if you don't have okra, okay? Okra, although it's not in season, we've got some okra here. These are pieces, frozen, they're fresh frozen, but during the summertime, excuse me, you can get them fresh, and it actually makes a much better tasting product. So what we're gonna do now, we're gonna add the okra, and okra will really help thicken that up, give it a lot of flavor. We need to add our spice. It can't be gumbo if you don't have Creole. Smokin' Texas Gourmet makes a Creole seasoning. It's all finished. All you do is have to take a tablespoon or so, dump it in, and stir it up. One of the things that we like to do in Smokin' Texas Gourmet, we actually have a tagline that says, making homemade happen. All of you folks out here who like to cook, and you follow a recipe and it says add a 1/4 teaspoon of that, add a 1/4 teaspoon of this, so forth, so on, and it might turn out good the first time, but the second time you try it, it's probably not going to be very consistent. So we do that for you. So all our spices and rubs and seasonings, all you have to do is add them to your food. So you can see now that it's thinned out. And actually, you always want to taste it before you start simmering it. So I'm going to take a spoon. Oh, that's really perfect. So we used the Creole seasoning in there. Now, we're going to let this simmer for about an hour and a half. And as it simmers, you need to keep an eye on it a little bit, because if it starts thickening up too much for what you want to add a little bit more broth to it, okay? The other thing is, make sure you don't add too much Creole seasoning to begin with. Like I just tasted it. It tastes very good, but I'd like to have it a little spicier. I'm not going to add more until later, because the seasonings always develop with cooking. So when you taste it by hand or whatever, it's not fully developed yet. So we're going to let this cook, simmer for an hour, and serve it. This particular one we're not going to serve. We have cooked another one that we will serve to you. And a lot of times they serve gumbo over a long grain or even short grain rice. I like using jasmine rice. The flavor of jasmine rice really goes well with gumbo and with the heat in a gumbo. Great for Super Bowls, great for Mardi Gras coming up. So, and as you can see, we've been here about a half hour. Only took a half hour to make this, once you've done the prep work, cutting everything up.
Yeah, mine took 3 days. So start this week for the Super Bowl. So it's ready, brisket, onion, everything's ready. You guys can see it? I got my bread here. I'm gonna fill it out, the bottom part. And then, by the way, this is a great sandwich for a Super Bowl party. And then I'm gonna add some pepper jack cheese. You can use a smoked mozzarella, you can use some Swiss cheese, you can use cheddar. I use pepper jack. And then we're gonna put it in the oven for a little bit just to melt the cheese. There you go. When it's ready, we're gonna cut it in half. And then we're gonna serve it with more barbecue sauce on the side. Remember what I said about the French dip? The goal of the French dip is take your sandwich and dip on more sauce. So we're gonna dip it on more barbecue sauce.
Cool. If everyone can see this, the consistency of this is really what you're looking for. You want it to be kind of runny, but thicker than a regular thin soup. You can see the vegetables in it. I like using red peppers and yellow peppers in mine because they're very sweet. It adds some additional flavor to your gumbo or really anything that you cook where you use peppers. Of course, we have green peppers in there too. Okay.
All right, sandwich is gonna be ready.
And by the way, we're going to serve, I think Dana's going to serve some of his stuff for you. If you come to our booth, 609, 610, you can pick up all of these seasonings. We're actually offering some specials that they will tell you about. We're going to feature the Creole seasoning today, which comes in a jar and a packet form. So come join us at our booth. Wow, that looks good, Chef.
All right, this is the sandwich. Nice big sandwich. I'm gonna cut in half. And there we go.
Now in cast iron, they also serve us with waffle fries. And we have a roasted tomato and sweet onion ketchup that's got a tiny little kick to it. It's got guajillo pepper in it. And it's something we developed specially for Chef Sebastien. And they have it sitting in a caddy on all their tables along with these other spices. So are we ready to serve?
Yeah, I think they're coming out. I need 2 volunteers. Can I get 2 volunteers to try that sandwich?
Sure, I'm sure somebody
Come on,
can.
come on in.
Come on,
Come
guys.
up here. 2 volunteers. There's one.
All right.
Here's
Come on
two
up.
volunteers.
Come on around, guys.
Hey, come on up. You can go around.
I'll tell you what, guys.
Okay.
Why don't you go around back? That way you don't have to reach up and climb up that.
Yeah.
And right here, I got the brisket that I put on the grill. Those lucky 2 people is going to try that too.
Grilled brisket is really great. A lot of times people don't know what to do with it other than slice it and put it on sandwich. I love grilling it. That's one of the reasons we have that. It's something special. Not very many people do that. Come up here.
Hi, how are you? What's your name? Adam. Here, there we go. Enjoy.
Well, we want you to
Hi,
taste it
what's your
right
name?
here.
John.
Right here.
Oh, yeah, try
And
it here.
yeah.
If you don't like it, he made it.
We're getting ready to serve the gumbo. Scott, are we going to let people get it, or are we going to serve it?
Oh, they can come up to the sampling station and pick it up, chef.
Okay. If anyone has any questions about any techniques or anything, we'll be
Thank
up
you, guys.
here. Just let us know.
Thank
We'll
you.
repeat the question and we'll try to answer it.
I can't wait for the Food Network to have a show called The Chemist and the Frenchman because I'm watching every episode. That was awesome. You guys are
Thank you.
fantastic. How about it, everybody? Sebastien Leyen and Pete Mollett. Fantastic job.
Thank you, guys. I enjoyed the
Thank
show.
you.
And again, booth 609 and 610 for Smokin' Texas Gourmet. You don't want to miss out. I'm sure those seasonings are going to go fast. And again, as you taste these wonderful samples from Sebastien and Pete, help out our friends at Irving Cares. You have an opportunity to donate as we try to help stamp out hunger right here in Irving. Thanks a lot.